time it is. Marvin Devine, Huber, Axel, and you know how we do. Yeah, I got the juice. Whip game cool, make them look like cool. Always play cool, that's the biggest rule. Forget what they doing, keep on doing. I've been making loot since like 22. Ask me how I made it right here in the booth. I'm always pursued cause of what I pursue. That's greatness, yeah, I gotta make it, I got things to lose. Boy, wanna get in my crew, but you can't get in my crew. Me, Axel, and Huber way too fireable. When this joint drop, better call the troops. And when you hear the drop, better raise the roof. Better raise the roof. You already know what happens when we link up. Let's go. Yeah, I got the
Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Tonight, we have something special for you. Our guest tonight is Jennifer Jones, a medically retired Marine combat videographer who actively served for 11 years until her kidneys failed from MPGN. She has a very compelling kidney story, is an active kidney advocate with the AAKP. Among others, tonight we're going to talk to her about her kidney experience, her experience with the Marines, her experience with the roller derby, her advocacy experience, including her experience as Gen Resilient. So introduction short tonight. I want to get right to it. So I think you're going to find this story compelling. Steve, start the show, baby. Jen, how are you?
I'm doing well, Jim. How are you? What an entrance. Oh my gosh.
No. That's all you. That's
Nice.
all you. So let's get right into it. Tell us a little bit about your childhood, your family, where you grew up, your background kind of stuff.
I was born and raised in a small town called Waynesboro in Georgia. I It was my mom and I against the world, you know. I'm an only child. She took good care of me. Uh, I know many people who know me wouldn't believe it, but I actually was painfully shy when I was a kid. I kind of I had friends and everything, but I was pretty quiet, and I was a bookworm. I love to read, and I like to just hang out with my little cousin, you know, outside. I was one of those kids that we were outside until the lights came on and our parents were like, "Get inside."
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, small town. Everybody knew everybody, and everybody was nice to each other. And my mom, being a nurse, being in the medical field, everybody knew her, and she's the one who gave me that sense of service to help people, because my mom still does a lot of volunteer work, and she did while I was a child, and I got to see her do that and participate as a child myself. So I don't know, it's just small town, small living,
small town,
small
small
ad
living is
living.
going.
Yes.
Okay. I learned something this week that once you're a Marine, you're always a Marine. So
Yes. Yes.
it's it's
There are no
it's my
ex-Marines.
understanding that you are a retired Marine.
Yes.
So what led to your decision to join the Marines? When
To
did
get
you sign up? Tell us a little bit about that.
to get out of that small town. That was the reason. I mean, yeah, it's a small town, and when you're in a small town, you wanna see the world. You wanna do something different. I wanted to do something different than what everybody else was doing, and I wanted to be a part of something bigger than myself. And most importantly, I wanted to take care of my mom, because she worked so hard taking care of me by herself. She was my mom and my dad, and I wanted to be able to provide for her, you know, for once. And I there was a Marine Corps recruiter at the school in high school, and he sold me, those blues uniforms are sharp, and the command presence, the way they carry themselves. It just I just fell in love. I fell in love with the whole idea of being a Marine. And especially when my classmates were like, "You wouldn't last a second in Marine Corps boot camp." So I was like, "All right, game on. I can do this. This is something I'm capable of doing." And in 2001, when I graduated, that October, I went to basic training, and I
Okay.
graduated. So yes,
All right.
became a
Where did
Marine.
you do your basic?
In Paris Island, South Carolina. That's where, at that time, that's where only women could go. Was at Paris Island. I think they're trying to do it in San Diego now. I'm not so sure.
When did you graduate?
I graduated basic training in January 2002. Yeah, so I was there during Thanksgiving and Christmas. So that was our first time away from home, like the two major holidays. I'm in basic training.
Wow. Wow.
Yes.
So what was your rank when you graduated?
I was a E2 private first class. I was meritoriously promoted.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about your first deployment?
Oh, my first deployment. It was 2003. Yes, it was to Kuwait. 5-month deployment. I was, oh my gosh, I was like 19. 19 and very, very young. Um, my role at that time, because I was of such a low rank, I did perimeter security, and which was interesting and a little frightening, because when you're responsible for the perimeter of the forward operating base, that is a major responsibility, because something could happen where you would need to, um, detain, or, you know, uh, may have to even use lethal force if an enemy approaches in a combative manner. So that was my first experience over there, as a Marine, was having to stand guard in at the forward operating base. And also, every now and then I would do what was it called? Doing perimeter security, like just traveling in a Humvee in a gun turret around the forward operating base to ensure that everything was on the up and up.
Okay. Talk
Yes.
to us a little bit about your subsequent deployments. Where were you deployed? What did you do? That type of thing.
This well, once I got up, once I moved up, I was doing more combat camera related things. The second and third deployment was in Iraq, and because of combat camera, my role as a combat camera videographer, well, as a combat camera marine, is to provide the commander with photographic, video, digital, and printed products, which directly support the Marine Corps operation, whatever that may be. And a lot of the things that I did was classified, but the things that were unclassified were ceremonial events. Unfortunately, I documented memorial ceremonies, also documented with investigative photography and videography for cases. Uh, let's see what else that I can talk about. I I think that's about it. And providing paperwork, products, photos, promotion photos, stuff like that. Posters, brochures, pamphlets. For me, it was predominantly video work. I did a lot of video work, video documentation of missions and other things that I can't really talk about.
Okay. Well,
Yes.
we don't want to get anybody in trouble.
Yes.
Um,
I had a
talk,
top secret clearance at the time, so I had top secret level things I could really talk about. So yeah.
talk to us about the fourth time you were deployed. How old were you? What year was that? And
Yes,
where
that
were you?
fourth deployment was in Afghanistan, and that one, all three deployments. The first three deployments, I was like, I want to go. I'm down. Let's do this. But for some reason, that fourth deployment, I had iffy feelings about it. Like I had a feeling, and I didn't. I'm sorry, mom, but I volunteered to go to that one, and because I was looking for a promotion. Promotion was a challenge to obtain in my line of work because the job field is so small. So I volunteered to deploy to Afghanistan, even though I had reservations upon doing so, because I was very, very fortunate to deploy 3 times prior and not die. So, four times is taking a big risk, especially with the line of work that I was doing. But at the time, I actually was an office job more so than anything else. I didn't really go out the fourth time, but a lot of that I can't really discuss. Um,
Mhm.
but it was supposed to be a 8 month long deployment, but unfortunately it was cut short. Do you want me to go into what happened
Well,
with
in
it?
a minute.
Yes.
Give Uncle Jim one chance.
Yes.
I understand that this was 2011, and you were approximately 27 years old at that time.
Yes, yes. It was 2011. I was 27. I was already a career Marine. Like that was 30 years.
What
That
you were
was
doing?
ago.
Okay.
So I had no desire to get out at the time. Yes.
Okay. In July of 2011, did you begin to notice some changes in your health in your body? What happened?
Yeah, so while I was there in January, I woke up and my face was swollen. That's what really started. The very first time was my face was kind of puffy. So I was thinking, oh, I must have ate something really salty, no big deal. I'll just chug a lot of water and go about my business. But then gradually, every day, my face would get significantly worse. And then I'm sitting at a desk and my feet were getting swollen. And that's never happened before. So I was getting very concerned because every day it was just gradually getting worse and worse and worse and worse until one day I walked back to my living quarters with one of my Marines and I realized I couldn't even pull my boots off of my feet. My Marine had to help me cut off my bootlaces, like cut the bootlaces so I can get my feet out of my boots. And they were purple and swollen and painful. And that's when I realized that, and she reiterated, like, you sergeant, you need to go to medical and get checked out. And I was in agreement, even though it's a challenge to go to medical, especially when you're deployed, because, and I hate saying it, but it's true. When you're a woman and you go to medical, the first question they ask you, if something's wrong, especially something like that, they ask you, like, are you pregnant? And I'm like, no. I'm definitely not pregnant. It was something that was seriously going on that needed to be looked at.
Okay.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about what happened when you were seeking medical care and treatment. What did they say? What occurred?
Okay. So so when I went to get medical, this is in Afghanistan. This is at forward operating base. So it went from very slow to super fast, right? So when I went there, I told them everything that was going on. I had pictures of my feet from the night prior, and they saw that my face was puffy. And the doctor decided to do blood work. And because it's in Afghanistan, the blood work took what 3 or 4 days to get tested. Yes, 3 or 4 days to get tested, which labs should be like in hours. So so I had 4 more days of hobbling, with swollen feet and not sure what's going on. And um I so when I finally got the call to come back to medical, they told me that I was diagnosed with nephrotic syndrome. So I was just, what is nephrotic syndrome? I have no idea what that is. And they told me that my kidneys suffered some significant damage, but they're not sure what caused it. And because of the how severe the damage was, I needed to be medically evacuated to Longstuhl, Germany immediately. So like
Okay.
overnight. Yes.
Ouch. So
Yes. Like they
explain the path that you took to our audience, because it didn't just end in Germany, right? I mean, you kept moving. Tell
yes.
people what happened.
Okay, so that night I was sent to Germany. I was there for 2 weeks getting all sorts of evaluations. All if you're a kidney patient, you know what I'm talking about. I went through the gauntlet of tests to confirm that I had nephrotic syndrome. By then the swelling was just terrible. I was definitely much larger than I was regularly. And then when they finally confirmed that I had nephrotic syndrome, they told me that there was no way that I was going to be able to return back to Afghanistan to my Marines. I would have to return to the States to be treated as an inpatient at Walter Reed in Bethesda, Maryland. So, of course, I was highly upset about that, because the last thing you want to do is leave your fellow Marines forward deployed and you go back to the States. So that was a hard pill for me to swallow. But of course, I had to go. I had no choice, and I was sent back after 2 weeks to Walter Reed. At the time, it was still just Bethesda Naval Hospital, but they were doing a transition, so I had to deal with a lot of that at the time. But I was admitted to the Wounded Warrior Regiment while I was at Walter Reed, and I was in the hospital for a while, but then I was sent to stay in their barracks that is on their base. And every day I would have medical appointments. I would just everything that you could imagine, every test you could imagine, I went through it twice because they had difficulty trying to pinpoint what caused the kidney damage. At first, they believed it was lupus, and then when they realized that it couldn't be lupus, they weren't really sure what it could be for a little over 2 months. It was almost 3 months that I was there, but they couldn't figure out what was going on. And by that time, they had me on 13 different medications, and I still had no idea what was going on. and
Okay.
finally, I was ultimately diagnosed with this is a mouthful, membranoproliferative glomerulonephritis type 1 idiopathic. Yes.
Okay. Explain the significance of it being type 1 idiopathic, because I've read that you've mentioned this before.
Yes, for idiopathic, that means that they're unsure what caused it because MPGN usually is caused by another medical condition, but unfortunately, they're not exactly sure what it is. What is it? Um, Basically, my immune system was triggered to cause damage to my kidneys.
Ouch.
And they're not sure why my immune system did that. And that is the issue. It just caused a rapid deterioration of my kidney function.
Okay. Total amount of time that you were hospitalized from start to finish.
Oh my gosh, don't I was trying to think about that. You mean from then to when I was medically retired, or then to now?
Yeah.
Because please don't. Okay,
From
from
now
then
until
to
the time you were
medically
medically retired.
from then
When
to
you
when
were,
you're medically retired. Um, I think I was hospitalized from then when I was medically retired. 'Cause that was 2011, and then 2013. So at that time, it probably was only 2 or 3 times.
wow.
It wasn't a lot because it started get increasing later on after I got out of the military. Because at that time I was only stage 3.
Okay. And you were not able to continue your service with the Marines, is that correct?
Unfortunately, no. I did request to stay in. However, because of the line of work that I do, I must be deployable. And because I have kidney disease, I will never be able to be deployable because of the risk of not having the medications, then dialysis, and the places that you go are definitely not friendly for the immunocompromised.
Okay.
So because of that, I was given the option to be on a medical board and be medically retired from the military because I had no desire really to do anything else. To start a new job after serving 12 years in the military, that would have been extremely difficult, if not impossible, because they probably would have said no to that too. And I kind of didn't want to go through all of that because I was like, if I couldn't stay doing my job, then I really didn't want to do anything else. So I made the decision to be medically retired and I was medically retired in 2013. And fortunately, I received a 100% service connected disability with that. I made
Okay.
sure to do that because, and this is a tip that I share with everybody. If you are currently active duty and you're serving in the Marines, or not in the Marines, but you're serving in any armed forces, and before you decide to get out, please get your VA claim completed before you get out because you will be treated better because you're active duty, and they will care more, and they will ensure that you get the highest percentage that you rate while you're in. If you wait till you get out and then you file your claim, it could take years before it's approved, and you may not get the rating that you feel that you deserve. And you
Okay.
need your benefits as soon as possible, especially your medical benefits, because I knew with
Okay.
my health, I couldn't wait.
Understood.
Yes,
I, I have in my notes that you actively served for a period of 11 years. Is that correct?
it was a little over 11 years. Yes.
Okay. Let's talk about your first experience with uh, dialysis. When did you start and what kind of modality were you on? How would you characterize it?
I started dialysis. My first time starting, I started hemodialysis in it was 2014. I started dialysis, and it was hemodialysis because at the time I was living in a very small apartment, and I was living by myself, and I didn't feel comfortable trying to do dialysis at home. Honestly, at the time, I didn't want it at home. I wanted to be able to go, get it out the way, and come home and not have to mentally process it because I wasn't happy. Um, because I still was very, very sad and very upset that I had to end my career. So when I started dialysis, it was just a very, very sad time for me. And I went to dialysis at Walter Reed. So I was living in Fredericksburg, Virginia at the time. So I was driving an hour and a half to dialysis 3 times a week.
Okay.
And yes,
How long a period of time the first time were you on dialysis?
fortunately, I was on dialysis for only 8 months. Can you believe that? Only 8 months.
That's great.
Yeah,
That's great.
yeah.
Um, did you decide to seek a kidney transplant? When did you start? Tell us a little bit about that.
I I decided to seek kidney transplants before I started dialysis. Like I knew I knew that I ultimately I wanted to pursue a kidney transplant. I had no desire to stay on dialysis longer than I had to. So it was that decision was made, yes, before I was on
Before
dialysis.
you started. Okay.
Yes,
Were you looking for a deceased donor, a live donor, or did it matter?
a living donor.
Okay. Can
Absolutely.
you explain why?
When I was told about how the quality of the kidney is better with a living donor, you don't have to wait years on a list because if you find your living donor now, you get your kidney now. And with my the disease that I'm diagnosed with, MPGN, it can enter the transplanted kidney and it can cause damage to the transplanted kidney. So I didn't want to take a risk of getting a deceased donor kidney that might be of a lower quality, and then I could lose the kidney sooner than I would a living donor kidney with the risk of that disease. So that was the reasons why I pursued a living donor.
Okay. Please describe the steps that you went through to try and find a living donor.
I I looked up if actually this kind of ties with AAKP because I was looking up information about how to find a living donor, and I found information on the American Association of Kidney Patients about this individual who utilized the internet and everything, and also some articles from you about utilizing social media. And I just decided, you know what? People are going to talk about you when you're alive. People are going to talk about you when you're dead. So I rather them talk about me alive. And I decided to put myself out there, which was absolutely terrifying. But I put myself out there on social media to share my story, to share about who I am, what I'm about, and that I'm actively pursuing a living donor. And it was terrifying, terrifying because I grew up, we don't tell our business to everybody. We're private people, but fortunately, my mom, like I said, my mom's a nurse, and two of my aunts are nurses, and my family understands how it is almost it is so difficult for an individual to receive a kidney transplant, and is twice as difficult as a black person to find a living donor. So, or to receive a kidney transplant for that matter. So, yes, I took it upon myself to share who I am, what I'm about, and my need for a kidney. And I did that primarily on Instagram. That's where I found the most cohesion, and more people were more, they resonated a lot on that platform with me. And it just grew. It grew. And let me see. On my birthday, it was 2014, and it was on my birthday, which is August 7th. I put it
Oh,
out there.
really?
I put this whole like speech out there, and I did it for this one too. But I put this whole speech out there, and I said, don't wish me a happy birthday. if you care about me, if you want me to live a good life, just do this one thing and share this post. And I wrote from my heart. I just put out who I am. I need a kidney. Please consider it. Here's my living donor coordinator's information. And I put it out there to the world, and it was shared like over 500 times. And it was just amazing. Like, so many people shared it. Then people shared it on their page, and it just became this big thing. And it was just amazing. Like, my living donor coordinator called me and said, "Stop sharing it. Too many people are calling in."
Nice problems
So
to have.
that was very, yes, it was very exciting. It was very, very exciting. I was very, very grateful for that. And
Okay.
because of that, yes.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, so because of
Because of
that,
that,
I had over 20, I think it was 21, 22 people, I believe, that got tested for me. And two were matches. And so
excellent.
I received my kidney from my match, which the great story about my donor. My donor is the sister of a roller derby skater who is in my league. That's the connection. So, her sister knows me, and she's seen me officiate roller derby, and she heard my story, she saw my story, and she just felt inclined to get tested. And it's not like we really, really even knew each other. We didn't know each other. And the fact that she decided to donate is just amazing. And what were the odds that she would be a perfect match for me?
Wow.
So.
What's this donor's name?
Her name is Samantha, but I don't. The thing about I love her because I would put her picture everywhere. I wanted to just do all of these things and everything, but she's a very private person as well,
Okay.
and she told me from the beginning that she did not do this for recognition. She did not do this for accolades. She didn't want to take away from anything. She just wanted to donate to me. And then, so I try to respect her privacy and not
Okay.
really go into detail about her. you know.
Tell us when and where you were transplanted. What was the date? Where did they do it?
Oh, yes. Well, it was at Walter Reed. Everything is done at Walter Reed, but I received my kidney transplant April 2nd, 2015. And it was
Excellent.
a 7-hour surgery because she had a
Oh,
super
wow.
kidneys. She had super kidneys,
Yeah.
like, so they were a little bit. It was a little bit big for me, so they had to try to make it fit. But everything went well. Everything worked immediately. I was urinating, yay! I didn't have to stay on dialysis. Everything just was perfect. Everything went well. Healing
Great.
recovery took a while, but
Mhm.
but I'm just grateful there was no complications with the kidney. Kidney was working perfectly out the gate. So I'm just so grateful for her. And she was great. She was fine. She came through, recovered, and I was just so, oh my gosh, I cried when I woke up from that surgery. I cried because I was just so grateful that here's my chance, another chance at a good life away from the dialysis machine, and I would be able to do things that I want to do without having to navigate my entire life around dialysis. So I was just so grateful for that.
Excellent. Excellent. Tell us about the roller derby thing in Fredericksburg, Virginia. How did you get involved with the roller derby?
All right, roller derby was something that I've always wanted to try, and I discovered Fredericksburg roller derby while I was in Afghanistan. Actually, you just on off time, you get to get online and look through things, and I was just thinking about, what, when I get back, I'm gonna try out roller derby while I'm still there, and while I'm still in Virginia. And I looked up the league, and I had reached out to them about skating, before I found out about everything. And they were like, yeah, when you get back, we'll talk to you and everything. But then everything happened with my kidney. So I was devastated. I was talking to a friend and I was just like, what am I going to do? I can't do anything that I've wanted to do anymore. And he recommended, like, you need to get your mind off of this. You need to do something fun. He said, what about that roller derby? And I was like, I can't do roller derby. I have kidney disease. What are you talking about? I'm not going to get hit and beat up when I might have to do dialysis and all of that. I can't do that. And he said, well, see what else that, you can do for them. There might be something else that you can do. So I said, all right. I reached out to them and they said, well, we're looking for on-skate referees, so you'll get the roller skate and everything, but instead you put on stripes and you tell us what to do, and you send it to the penalty box if we mess up. And I was like, all right, because there's a high demand for referees, because for roller derby, you need to have 7 skating officials on the track for roller derby. So in this area, officials are in short supply. So I was like, okay, that works out, because I've been roller skating as long as I could walk, So, and I haven't been able to roller skate, being active duty and everything, and traveling all over the place. So I thought, okay, this would be something cool to do. And Fredericksburg Roller Derby, that team welcomed me in with open arms, like open arms. They were like, sure, we'll work with you. And then I would also travel to Richmond, the Richmond's roller derby team, River City Roller Derby, and their head ref at the time, my good friend Callie, she was their head referee, and she took me under her wing and she trained me up to be I think, a pretty good referee. And I've been doing it since May of 2013. So right after, no, May 2012. Yes, it was May of 2012 when I started Derby, because I was getting ready to transition out of the Marines and I needed that. Because they didn't treat me, nobody treated me like I was sick. That's what I love about roller
Uh,
derby as a whole. No one treated me like I'm this sick person, and they treated me with love and respect, and I was just Shorty Doo Wop. That's my derby name, Shorty Doo Wop. And yes, so it was the best decision that I could make, because it was so good. Not just to keep myself up physically, because physical fitness is very important, especially when you're dealing with kidney disease and dialysis and everything. But it was also good for my mental fitness as well, because it gave me an avenue to not think about what I was going through. And it also gave me a community that I needed, and helped me create a support system, because so many individuals from both leagues, both Fredericksburg and River City, I just connected with on a deeper level. And they were my first introduction into the civilian world. After being around, eating, sleeping, and breathing Marine Corps, it's hard to transition, especially with a chronic illness. It was very hard for me to transition from military to civilian. So I just the roller derby community, the skaters, and my fellow referees just helped me grow into the person I am right now. And I just and helped me throughout my kidney disease journey in so many ways. It's amazing.
I was going to say, I understand that they've been very, very supportive
Yes.
uh, of you and your situation. So that's pretty
Yes.
cool.
The roller derby community, just like with any community, I think there's drama and there's silliness, but when a member is in need, they come through. Oh my gosh, they come through. Like I had no idea how. I mean, even individuals that didn't know me, like they heard of me, they wanted to help out just because I'm a member of roller derby. Like that, it was just amazing. It's
Great. Great.
Yes.
Let's talk about your kidney advocacy a little bit. What made you decide to advocate for other kidney patients? What caused you to become an advocate for other kidney patients?
All right. So once I received my kidney transplant, I had to reflect on everything I went through. Because, like I said, when I was medically retired, I didn't have time to decompress from being in the military, or and try to discover who I really was after the military. And I felt like I lost a sense of purpose and a sense of service. And I was trying to figure out, how will I be able to serve others as Jennifer, since now I'm not Sergeant Jones anymore. How will I do that? And I noticed that a lot of people do this. A lot of people do this they've experienced kidney disease. They're like, I'm gonna start a nonprofit, and I was like, I don't think I'm capable of starting a nonprofit. Because I don't know. I wanted to join an organization that I resonated with. So there are so many different roles, and I decided that because of the background that I have and the fact that I am good at speaking, I'm good at talking with individuals, I feel that I'm an effective communicator, that I wanted to advocate in a way that can actually make significant changes in the life of a patient and their caregivers and even living donors. Like I wanted to, you know, be a part of implementing laws and providing resources, and giving us access to what we need, or to advance, um, or to help, push for advancements in technology, because I'm still floored that the dialysis machine hasn't changed in what, 60 years, right? Like, isn't that
Mhm.
wild? Like, I can't believe that. So, I just wanted to utilize my voice in a way, and also because I was told that the way I shared my story to pursue a living donor was done so effectively, that I was capable of doing that, in other ways. And so that's where I went on my pursue. I was looking at, all the major nonprofits, kidney related nonprofits, and AAKP was the one that really caught my eye. And
Okay.
yes.
Tell us a little bit about your experiences with the AAKP. I mean, you're like a big shot now and stuff.
I don't even I'm humble. I'm humble. I'm flattered. I'm honored that AAKP has trusted me to be a part of the executive board. When I looked at AAKP and I saw how it's the oldest and largest independent kidney organization in the U.S. And that's what drew my eye, because it's like, oh, it's a lot of patients. It's patients who are running this. And so of course the focus is primarily going to be on the patients. So that's awesome. And I loved how the advocacy was at the forefront of the mission of AAKP, because we are in need of policies that improve and extend the life of kidney patients. Yes, that was what did it for me. So I saw that AAKP had an ambassador program. So I reached out to Aaron. Aaron was the first person that I was able to get in contact with. This was in May. I start everything in May for some reason. I don't know. It was May of 2019. I reached out to Erin and I told her, hey, I'm interested in being a part of the ambassador program in Virginia. What do I need to do to sign up? And she gave me the information. I signed up. And that next month in June, she was like, hey, you want to go to Capitol Hill and advocate for kidney patients? And I was like, sure. She put me to work immediately, and that's exactly what I wanted, to be put to work immediately, and that was excellent. I went to Capitol Hill. I think that's where I met you. Was then. It was that or a national patients meeting, but I think it was then. It was with ASN. Yes. So,
We met at the executive order signing uh, with
oh,
President Trump at that time.
yes,
That's the
yes. That's the first time we met.
first
Okay.
time I recall
Yes.
meeting you.
Yes. I think I've
Okay.
seen you because you're when you are out, you are everywhere. You are seeing everybody. Everybody's like, Jeff. So I think I saw you one time, and I couldn't get to I couldn't introduce myself to you. But yes, you're right. The executive order signing. But yeah, so yes, the Capitol Hill experience, that was amazing. I just did not know that I would be able to do that, to go back to, the Capitol. Because the last time I was there, I was in uniform. So to be able to go there, in a suit and, share my story and share, my experience as a kidney patient to help those who are unable to do that, that just opened my eyes to the possibility of what a kidney advocate is capable of. And so after that, then that was the national patients meeting in 2019. Yes. So yes, the executive order. So we had what, the Capitol Hill, then executive order signing, and then what, the public health policy meeting, and national pacing meeting. I know national pacing meeting. I got put to work for that. I was moderating. I got to speak. I was running up and down, and that was amazing. That national patients meeting was amazing. All the education, all of the professionals there. You spoke about social media and everything, and just that experience really opened my eyes to so much information that I had no clue about in regards with kidney disease, advocacy and education, advancements in technology, the disparities with people of color, and just everything that was happening. And I was like, wow, all these patients are here, like, patients and caregivers and donors and supporters and medical healthcare professionals are all here united under a common goal. This is exciting. It was just so exciting to me that I'm a part of changing history. And that's what I really feel that AAKP is. There are so many different roles when it comes to being a kidney disease advocate or having a role. There's the ground side, because I use military, like, uh you know sayings about things, but there's a ground side, where people directly interact with patients, checking up on them in dialysis clinics and seeing how they're doing, or checking on patients that are inpatient, everything like that. And then there are the behind the scenes, or the ones that are command and control. And that's what I kind of feel that AAKP is like command and control level, because they are the ones we are the ones who are going to our elected officials. We are the ones who are deeply focused in talking to focusing on the legislative side of things to make significant permanent change throughout the US, not just the US, but throughout the world now. So that's
Yes.
just extremely exciting for me. Yes.
Great. Great to get me fired up here and you talk about it. Let's talk a little bit about Gen Resilient, and
Yes.
you being a resilient consultant. Tell us a little bit about that.
All right, Gen Resilient. This is an idea that I had in 2019, because when I share my story and I talk about, you know why I do the things I do, or my perspective on life and a lot of things, a lot of individuals make the comment, "You're so strong." And I know when individuals say that, they mean well, but it always made me feel a certain type of way because when I'm laying in that hospital bed, I don't feel strong. When I'm crying my eyes out, wishing this would all stop, I don't feel strong. But somehow I still do what I need to do. I still make the tough decisions and fortunately have come out somewhat all right. and and I don't think that strength plays a part, but that's not what encompasses why I do the things I do. And I had to really think about it. And a word that kept coming back to me was resilience. And for me, I just became fascinated with the idea of resilience because did you know that there are 30 different science-based definitions of resilience? Like you could look at a dictionary, there's a definition for resilience, but then if you look online, people have so many different definitions for resilience that I realized that is something that means something completely different to everybody. But I look at it as you know, I want to understand why some people can withstand or even thrive in difficult life events because resilience is something that everybody has, or somebody has to a degree. Everybody has a degree of resilience, but some people have more resilience than others. And the good thing about that is that even if someone didn't grow up with a large amount of resilience, being able to overcome, difficult obstacles and adapt to challenging situations and circumstances in a timely fashion, they can learn how to do it. They can be taught how to do it. And when I discovered that, I wanted to teach people how to be resilient and to be mindful because the one thing that it was very difficult for me to do, and it's still a challenge, is to be in the present moment. Because especially with someone with chronic illness, you're either focused on the past, before the chronic illness, or you're fearful about the future. Am I going to die? Am I going to end up in the hospital? What's going to happen to me? What's going to happen to my family? This and the third. So being in the present moment, especially someone with a chronic illness, is so important because the time that we have now is so precious and so valuable. And once I started practicing mindfulness, I knew that that was something that I wanted to instill in other people because I know a lot of individuals don't really know how to live in the present moment. And that's connected by resilience because if you can't be in the present moment and you can't focus on your life situations effectively, how are you going to navigate the challenges and the obstacles that come your way? You're going to crumble and fall. Last year proved it for a lot of people that they are unable to handle curveballs. This last year was a good test for all of us. But before that, when I realized that I want to teach resilience, I looked up like is there classes, is there certifications for that? And fortunately, there is a couple of certifications to be a resilience practitioner. And so I went through the accredited certification. I graduated, and I am a certified resilience practitioner. And I do go by as a resilience consultant, where I help individuals maintain and develop a resilient lifestyle and mindset through personal development, well-being, and mindfulness. I was hosting workshops, but unfortunately, because of my recent health situations, I had to put that on pause. But next month, I should be starting up workshops again. And the
More
goal
IG
is,
sessions,
excuse me?
more IG sessions, more
Yes.
IG sessions.
Yes,
You
there's
can
going
say
to
it,
be,
Jim. It's all
oh,
right.
yes, that I'm going to have IG live sessions. I do have a YouTube channel as well. And the goal is to have courses through Zoom courses where, have everybody, talk about building a resilience plan, which is a plan to make sure that you have a collection of the tools and resources that you need to overcome challenges that are happening now and in the future. And then the goal is once everything's lifted is to have in-person workshops and hopefully retreats. I want to have resilience retreats. That is the main goal. I want to have a resilience retreat specifically for kidney patients and then one for everybody else. That's the goal.
Okay. I have to ask you about this, Jen. I understand recently that your resilience has been tested. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. I was able to put what I've learned to good use. So last year, during all of this, during the pandemic, my kidney function started to decline. It was declining pretty fast, starting around May timeframe. My hemoglobin levels were very, very low. I was severely anemic, and they weren't sure. My nephrologist wasn't sure why. Um, so I had to go to the hospital and receive a blood transfusion. I was very adamant against that for a while. I fought it for a while because, of course, if you get a blood transfusion, it makes it more challenging for you to pursue a kidney transplant in the future. But my hemoglobin levels hit a 5. And for those who do not know, for a woman, a healthy hemoglobin level is like a 12. So 5 is dangerous, and they told me that they didn't know why I haven't passed out yet. But of course, when you gradually start to feel sick, you don't really know because it's a slow decline, and I just knew that I was tired, I was sluggish, I was having brain fog, my memory wasn't that great, and I knew something was off. So when I found out that it was my hemoglobin level, I was like, oh, okay. Well, we need to try everything except blood transfusion. But they tried everything, air nest injections, iron supplements, and all of that, and that didn't work. So I got my blood transfusion, and then I was in the hospital for a few days for them to evaluate me, and they said, your creatinine is going up. We need to adjust your medications. I'm like, okay. So they increased my anti-rejection medications. Then my kidney function just continued to get worse and worse. Then my hemoglobin levels went down again, right? So I'm beginning to get sicker and sicker. My hemoglobin levels are going down. So they're around September time frame, they tell me you need to go in the hospital again because now your creatinine. At the time, my creatinine it had to be a 2.1 or something like that. And it's never been that high at the time. It was never that high. So I was getting nervous, and they were like, "We're gonna figure out what's going on. Here's more. You need to take more of your medication, and you need to have another blood transfusion." Okay, so I get another blood transfusion. So I'm very discouraged then because I'm like, okay, how many blood transfusions am I gonna have? Like, how many times are you gonna make me do this? And then they realized that maybe I was taking too much of my autoimmune medication because it was compromising my immune system to the point where I was beginning to get sick. Because immediately after that, I got sick, like really, really violently ill, like puking and just delirious, and stomach was just I was just so sick. And I went to the hospital again. And they were like, yes, I don't know, what did they say? I had some weird form of E. coli, which was probably from takeout that me and my significant other ate, and he didn't get sick, but I did. And they were like, your immune system is so compromised that we're concerned about it's not working. Your kidney function is declining, but we have you on this high dose of it was myfortic. This high, not myfortic, it was, yes, it was myfortic. This super high dose of myfortic. It was making me super immunocompromised. My hair was thinning. I was just feeling terrible. So they decided, okay, we're going to take you off of that completely. As soon as they took me off of that, I started swelling up. I started getting edema in my face and my extremities. And they just kind of said, you know what? MPGN is spreading in your transplanted kidney and is causing it to fail. So I didn't really go into kidney rejection. The disease actually deteriorated the function of my kidney, and none of the immunosuppressants worked, unfortunately, to suppress it. They tried to, it did it as long as it could, and it just stopped working. So once they took me off of my Fortic, it was just a super fast decline into renal failure. And it was January. It was January when I had to go back in because they told me, we need to start talking about dialysis. And I was devastated because I was hoping that I would be able to get a transplant before starting dialysis, but my kidney function declined so quickly that they said, well, we need to figure something out now. So I had already decided prior to this that I was going to do peritoneal dialysis. And so I went into the hospital to get the transfer set placed into my abdomen. And that evening, because my blood pressure was sky high, because it took a while for them to even allow me to go under because my blood pressure was so high. I was so swollen. Oh my gosh, why didn't? That's why you didn't see me online, because I was so swollen, and just feeling so bad. My body hurt so much, and it was just like before. I was like, I know I'm gonna have to start dialysis. I just know it's gonna come. And that night, they told me, we think it's best that we start you on dialysis tomorrow. And I was not ready. I was not ready for that. So they said, so tomorrow we're gonna put a chest catheter a Hickman catheter in your chest, and you're gonna start hemodialysis there. So that Thursday, I got a transfer set in my abdomen. And then that Friday, I received a Hickman catheter and started dialysis. That was, next to my transplant surgery, that was the most painful experience that I've had during this journey. It was so painful and it was hard because I was by myself because thanks to COVID, I couldn't have anybody there at all. And it was so hard because Walter Reed is a teaching hospital, so they have students there, and sometimes, even though it's COVID, they want to bring in 4 or 5 or 6 individuals in the room at the time, and that is such a challenge to try to you're okay. So you're in a hospital, you've had 2 surgeries, you're drugged up, and you have all these individuals coming in your room trying to talk to you and tell you all these things, and you don't have anybody there to be like, hey, or to hear what's going on. So I had to think quick about what I was going to do. So I called my mom and had her on speakerphone so she can hear what's going on. I had my significant other on the phone so he can hear what's going on. Um, and I relied on my support system. I talked to you when I was in the hospital. I talked to a few other members of AAKP who checked in on me and made sure that I was okay. And it was so, I relied heavily on my phone while I was there. I relied heavily on my phone because it just, I've been in the hospital by myself before, but for some reason it was so hard. It was so, because I was in so much pain. That's what, I was in so much pain. And then it was a shock to have to start dialysis because I was not prepared. They told me that I had at least maybe 3 to 6 more months before I had to start dialysis. So when I was told that I had to start dialysis, then I was devastated. I was absolutely devastated, but I had to keep it together because that wasn't the place or the time to cry or to get mad and take it out on the medical healthcare professionals or anything like that. Because I always, for me, I always believe that if you are kind to them, the good ones are going to be kind to you, right?
Right, right.
And then and then especially on the pain medications I had, there were times where the nephrologist or the doctors would come in and they would say something and I couldn't process anything that they said. And I would have to wait until they came back to say, "Hey, I didn't understand anything you said. Could you repeat that, please?" Like, not being afraid to ask them to repeat what they say. And also, and then most importantly, is to document everything that's going on. If there was something that I knew that I wasn't going to be able to remember, I wrote it down. I wrote it down so I can go back and review what was going on. And that's what I feel those are little steps of resilience because I was able to get through it because everything that could go wrong went wrong. I had to stay there for a whole week because they were trying to get everything set up in Richmond because now I live 2 hours away from Walter Reed. So I wasn't going to be able to continue to do dialysis or to get PD training there because I wouldn't be able to drive 2 hours every day up there. So it took a while to get me connected with a dialysis clinic in Richmond. So I had to stay there to continue to receive dialysis because they wanted to do dialysis every day. Because I had close to 30 pounds of waste and fluid on me that they needed to pull off.
Okay.
Then when I was getting ready to leave, I got a fever that night. The night before I was supposed to leave, I had a fever. So they were like, "You're not leaving until we figure out what's going on with that." And they didn't figure out what was going on.
Mhm.
They couldn't even decide. They couldn't even figure out what happened, and they pumped me full of antibiotics. And then once I felt better, they finally discharged me, and then I was on dialysis. I was on hemodialysis until I was able to receive PD training.
Okay. Steve,
Yeah.
5 more minutes. He's asking me about the time. I just
Oh,
want our audience to know, um, our friend Jennifer has a GoFundMe page. That link to her page is listed in the comments to the notice of our show tonight. She also has a transplant coordinator, Vilta Dischetti Brown, and her email address is listed in the comments to our show tonight. So if you want to help out our friend Jen, you can contact her transplant coordinator if you'd like to test for her. And, this stuff that she's talking about costs money. So if you would like to donate to her GoFundMe page, please be sure and do that. And just so everybody knows, her insurance will cover her donor testing and evaluation for up to 2 years after her transplant. So this, as you can tell, this is a really good person and a good friend and an excellent kidney advocate. And if you have any inkling at all about donating, giving her a kidney, getting checked out, because you'll have to go through some testing. We're not going to lie to you. But please do that because this person is worth saving, period. Okay? Talk to me a little bit about what it's like to be on PD. Why did you make that choice this time around?
I made the choice to get on PD because I made a choice before. Because of course, when you have a kidney transplant, you have to think about, okay, what I'm gonna do if I have to, unfortunately, go back to dialysis. And I made a decision a long time ago that I was going to do PD because I wanted to do it at home. Despite the fact that a I had a good experience with my dialysis team at Walter Reed. My dialysis nurses and the techs were phenomenal, and they took good care of me. However, hemo was very rough. It was very rough on my body, and it was just rough all the way around physically for me. So I wanted to try something different, and I just heard so many good things about PD, and that it was a gentler, more effective treatment since you're dialyzing every day instead of 3 times a week. And so after talking about it with individuals who had PD, and they were like, "No, PD is so much better." But then I also looked up the risks that are involved with having PD, and I just decided that it would probably be the best course of action for me. Um, I went through PD training through DaVita, And I will admit that I was nervous. I was very nervous because I had Walter Reed, which, people didn't know about Walter Reed before. They know about it now because of everything that happened. But I had a best care, best treatment at Walter Reed. So going to the Vita, I was extremely nervous, and but fortunately, my peritoneal dialysis nurse that trained me, she is amazing, and she's been available for me 24/7. Like at one time, I was able to hit her up at 2 o'clock in the morning because I had an issue with the machine. But the training was 2 weeks. I was able to learn manual PD and then the cycler. So I have the machine and learn the training itself was not hard, but what has been hard, I guess, is adjusting to how it feels because it's an indescribable feeling to feel the fluid in your peritoneal cavity in your abdomen because I'm not a big person, so I can't get like a normal size dose, so I have to be on the machine for 9 hours. um yeah, 9 hours. So that's why I was like 8 o'clock, I gotta do this. No, I'm joking, but usually I do hook up between 8 and 9, and so I can get off of it kind of early because I've made the mistake of getting on it at 11 midnight, and then I'm on it all the way late into the late morning, sitting in my bedroom like, okay. I think the most difficult thing has been though is the drain pain because the fluid, it fills you with the fluid, and then you have to drain it all out. And so when it drains, it's like the cavity feels like it's sucking in, like it's just this suction, and that's been very uncomfortable for me. And it took me a while to adjust to that, but it's getting better. It's not as bad as it was when I initially started. I think it needed some time for it to mature, and the pain isn't as bad. I can usually sleep through it, but if I'm awake at the last part of it, I feel it, and that's uncomfortable. But other than that, fortunately, everything has gone well with it. Yes,
Good, good. Okay, last question.
yes.
What do you envision as your future? What do you want uh, as your future as a kidney patient, as an advocate, uh, as a person?
Wow.
What is it that you're looking to do?
I want to live a long life. I want to make it to your age. I really
Mm,
want. No, I know. You know what I mean. As a kidney patient, I wanna. This next go around. I want to enjoy my time with the kidney transplant instead of being fearful of losing it. And I feel like this last time, I was more concerned with losing my kidney than enjoying the fact that I had a kidney. And so for now in the future, I want to live in the moment and be grateful for every moment I have where I'm not sick, I'm not in pain. I want to love every aspect of my life. Um, as a kidney disease advocate, I have already exceeded. I've exceeded what I set out to do. I just wanted to use my voice in a meaningful way and to be able to help shape the the path of AAKP is a great honor, and to be able to lead with individuals like you and Richard and Paul and Ed and just it's just and it's an honor. I can't even I'm lost for words because I'm still in awe that I'm able to do that, and to also be a part of organizations in a meaningful way to share my voice as a patient, as an advocate. And then what life in general, Gen Resilient, that's my pet project, that is my baby. I hope to be a thought leader in resilience and personal development and well-being. There in the well-being community, there's not many individuals who lead who look like me, and there's not many who have such a unique background as I do as well. Having being in the military, having a chronic illness, and I feel like my perspective on life and based off of my experiences, I can attract a certain demographic who understands that life is not going to be easy, and that there are going to be challenges and obstacles and hardships, but you can overcome them, you can adapt to them, and you can live a good life and be happy in spite of that. You know, life
Yeah.
isn't meant life isn't meant to be happy all the time, but it's about focusing on what you are capable of being in control of, and being and what you are grateful for, because there's always something to be grateful for. And that is, I think that's the biggest goal for my life, is to always, 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 always know that I have something to be grateful for every day. So,
Great.
yes.
Jen, I appreciate you taking time to talk with us tonight so very much. And I'm sure everybody in the audience learned a lot. I learned a lot. Thank you so much for coming on with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I know you want to do this, and thank you so much for wanting to be on your show. This was excellent.
No, you're the best. You're the best. I'm fortunate to have you. So, all right, Jared, we're all done. Time to close up, buddy.
Brothers, my guys, know that they fly, know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side, CJ Ike, now I gotta roll with ice. Cold, these brothers, my guys, know that they fly, know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side, CJ Ike, now I gotta roll with ice. Ride or die, 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 ride or die. Cold, these brothers, my guys, know that they fly, know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side, CJ Ike, now I gotta ride or die.